Today is Thursday, September 12th, 2024. The time is 6:00 p.m. I'd like to call the Planning Commission regular meeting to order. Myself, Mike Cap is present.
Lane Belter.
Ray Wallner, Dan Vanas.
Ken Lehman.
Jessica Blair.
Public comment on agenda items. Anybody? Going once? We're gonna review the minutes for July 11th.
I'll make a motion to accept the July 11th Planning Commission regular meeting. Seconds.
That's first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Old business discussion of conditional use permit follow-up. A few here, permit 9501, Dan and Mary Vanas.
We were briefly discussing before everybody got here, but maybe we should be looking at these as light businesses so that we all, they're kind of uniform. They're not gonna be exactly the same, but so do we want to wait and do
Yeah,
all
storage units
storage units at one time?
together.
Yeah.
So we have apples to apples.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Tonight or postpone it to a whole bunch of storage unit for another night?
Just this one.
Postpone this one.
Not, I think there's at least half these we can get through tonight, I think.
Right, but
Yeah.
so this one would get postponed until we have a block of storage unit ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's what, Badger Storage, and then, what's the other one across the street called?
The WBL,
WBL.
or I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's the owner.
Next to,
At the old combo place. Is that
yeah, and
considered?
then we got next to Scogan's old gas station, I don't remember.
Oh,
what that
yeah.
is. And then we've got Vic Foster's,
That's not in the village.
I believe that's in the village. That was annexed in to put the, yeah, we went through that. Well, there's,
Oh, I was thinking the one a little farther down. So,
yeah, so well.
Yeah.
So then we look all those up and block all those on one
So
night.
that we're kind of, so if
Yeah.
we're making changes, we're kind of making
Uniform.
uniform.
Beautiful.
Uniform, yeah. To me, that makes sense.
So we're gonna move to
I make a
table.
motion to table 9501 CUP.
Second. $96.04 Somerset Youth Hockey Association.
Still being used during concerts for non-patron volunteer workers.
A lot of times they have hockey going on, so I don't know that they're either. Sounds like there's some kind of might be sometimes an issue with cars, because they have to go to hockey, they're going through the back way. But it sounds like they're gonna put an officer there, or a security person there to monitor whether people are concert goers or hockey people.
Can't 2 and 3 be eliminated? It has to do with the building permit and removing the fence.
Yeah, that fence has been gone a long time, right?
Assuming that.
So we're saying remove one,
I'm assuming they're talking about the barbed wire fence
but one
that
first.
ran up in between the rural farmers on it years ago. That's, I'm assuming it's the fence they're talking about.
So one we can remove though, right? That's really not our concern if it's to be used by non-volunteer workers.
I think 1, 2, and 3 can go.
Okay.
Is there anything we wanna add? If we're removing those three, is there?
Do we even need to have an indoor rink and an outdoor rink and a shelter practice rink
Right,
separate?
Right, do they even have a sheltered practice rink?
Not right now. They have in the past? Yes.
Yeah.
What's the hours at the rink? Is there hours, is there hours?
Bob, are you, do you have
They're
this through to look at
Anywhere
this?
from 4 in the morning till 1 in the morning.
Shouldn't we address hours of operation on every single conditional use permit, whether it be,
24, if it's gonna be 24 hours, do we need to put it in there though? I don't know, And do we care if it's 5 in the morning,
There's a lot of ice rented at 5 AM.
right?
but if a neighbor complains, well, that's what their hours are. In their conditional use permit.
The neighbor complained over noise, and it'd be under the village ordinance of noise for certain hours.
Yeah, I don't think there's
I
any.
don't think we need to put something in there that
Yeah.
isn't a problem.
In 20 years on the board, I never heard a complaint from one neighbor yet.
They're afraid of you.
those neighbors are coming though, I know that.
Outdoor, where's that?
Say again,
Where's the outdoor rink over there?
It's just in the south
Just
end building.
inside, yeah. And I'd say keep that in, just to make sure that it's not draining off into that's park.
But is there a retention pond?
Is there what?
A retention pond?
There is, but it's on the north side of the building. Everything drains, when the rink drains out, it drains into the parking lot, drains to the north and into the retention.
Okay.
So everything drains properly.
So number one is correct, then we'll
Yeah.
keep that.
Yep,
And there's no, since it got fenced in and kinda, there's no parking on that north side anymore, is there after they?
no, that's actually part of the concert property.
Yeah.
There's
so-
there's some of it inside, outside the fence, but it's all minimal.
So number 3 doesn't
Number
matter.
3 can strike.
Number 3 don't matter.
Okay.
should we eliminate indoor rink, outdoor rink, and we are gonna eliminate those headings, aren't we? I don't think it really matters anymore, does it?
Yeah, we can, since we're removing all 3 from the indoor rink, we can strike that one, but the outdoor rink, I think you keep the lot drainage and the lighting.
And like I said, I don't believe there's any fence between Veterans Park and the rink anymore. There's a row of pines, but
Right.
I think
Yeah.
the fence is all gone.
Then we should drop this one anyway.
Yeah. So we're gonna strike 1, 2, and 3, right?
I mean, if you're gonna go to the indoor rink, you're gonna park in the same parking lot as you go to the outdoor rink, so why we even need the heading?
You're saying for the outdoor rink?
Yeah, why even have a heading,
just-
indoor, outdoor, and
I
shelter?
think they're just saying for the being outside for the lot drainage and then the lighting, making sure it doesn't shine on like.
What I'm saying
grass.
is whether you're going there for the indoor, the outdoor, the shelter rink, you're parking in the same parking lot.
So it's saying maybe lot drainage for outdoor rink and then take off the heading.
Yeah, well, yeah, keep number one, but just take the heading off.
We want it outdoor rink.
Right, yeah, add,
Oh, yeah,
add the words outdoor rink into number 1,
Yes,
drainage outdoor rink.
Or lot drainage, I guess it could be the whole parking lot.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
So, yeah, I see what you're saying now, I agree with just taking outdoor rink out
Yeah.
completely. And then the lighting is separate, that doesn't have any,
And I would like to see something about lighting on pretty much any parking lot. Cause there are a few parking lots around town that the lighting is obnoxious if you're driving by at night. So. Shouldn't be faced at, when we put new lighting on the front, my mini storage facing the outside. The electrician put up a couple of lights and to see what we thought about how they covered it, but I said it doesn't work because you drive by on the highway and
too
your
bright.
blind is too bright. So, you know, I wanted a light that's showing down and not out.
And I would think we could do that with new conditional use permits, but I'd hate to you know,
I'll make them change the
Maybe
lighting that they had for 20.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not, you know, I'm not looking to get people, make people
Right.
change, but. But I just like something about lighting in there.
is there anything in our ordinances about lighting facing housing or roads? Nothing that nothing that I can remember.
I don't think you should have to change football field lights.
Yeah.
They light up my place like the rising sun,
Yeah, you're right, no lights.
But it's not every light, so it's not.
it's on the best night outside.
Oh, yeah.
Can pull on later.
Yeah, could do that.
On the sheltered practice rink, so who takes care of the snow removal? Does the school take care of it?
No,
No,
it's the hockey association, all the school does is pay for referees and busing.
That's it,
Everything else is self-funded.
okay. And then the parking additional 10, I mean, that's just parking.
We get rid of sheltered practice rink, just like we ever did the other two headings.
Just need one, whatever.
Do you think they'll put up another
do we
practice rink?
Yeah.
I,
Need anything with the snow removal on their
I-
private property?
I don't think so.
I think we just get rid of
Yeah.
all
As long as they're,
the 1, 2, and
Don't you
3.
think they should be removing it though within 24 hours of the snowfall? I mean,
I'm thinking
They're the
about it.
ones using
But
it.
it's a private property.
After 30 years, they figured out what to do with the snow, I know.
Right.
So the outdoor rink they're referring to wasn't, that's park.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why that's.
So we,
how many times have they had that?
that was 30 years ago.
We haven't had one since, have we?
They did it for a year and it was done,
Yeah.
Oh,
cause they were taking the Zamboni over there, I don't know if you remember that, Dave, and it got full of sand and lost it up.
mhm.
where's that at?
All right.
Sheltered.
Okay.
But State's is not there right now.
Yeah.
You think they'll,
so if they wanna do a practice, a sheltered rink, they'd have to come back and ask that.
I don't-
Where's the shelter?
So that one now is the one north,
Oh, there is
yeah,
another one.
directly north.
It's no longer sheltered, it's just walled.
It's,
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
the only ones we're gonna keep then are, that was under the outdoor rink are 1 and 2, correct? Everything else can go.
Everything under sheltered practice rink as well.
In my opinion, anybody else have?
I think so, I mean. How many parking spaces are up there now, Dave? You have any idea?
On the north side,
Total.
oh, total,
I mean, they don't ever run out of parking. do
They plow that.
other than
upper
varsity,
area.
other than varsity games or regional games. It's,
Well,
everything's in the parking lot, I'm not sure, but I'd say there's at least
I think
80
just 1 or
spots.
2.
So, okay,
so
because
like,
at one point they said a maximum 20. In the north parking lot, which isn't
That's-
used anymore.
No, we use that for buses.
Sure. Oh,
One was easy, you know?
so we're only leaving 2 on there total.
2,
So we're gonna strike all 1, 2, and 3 under sheltered rink.
Mhm.
yeah.
Do we need to update the address on that?
Oh, good point.
Mhm.
Let's start putting that stuff.
Just add it to the parcel number.
Parcel number, well, it is 529 Main Street, that is the
That
address.
is-
Yeah, I think
But
in
maybe
this,
under,
The Main Street address, huh?
yeah,
Okay,
in this case, I think their address is correct.
okay.
They're
Yeah.
gonna- most of the others are not. We don't have
So we'll just leave that.
a site address.
so but thinking ahead, like some of them are Stillwater address, do we wanna put it parcel number and then the actual physical address after each of them? Just to be consistent?
Or underneath issue 2, before, above the expiration date, put site address or something.
Yes, add site
Add
address,
site address,
Where do you want that added?
it's under issue 2.
under issue 2 above expiration date.
They see the building address and site address.
No,
Well,
no, like, this is my home address is issued to me. But it doesn't say where the buildings are.
Right.
So
I got
to me, you need to add,
site
and
address, I
then, you
like that as a,
know, float right to PO box and, so I mean, if we're gonna have other ones, we should have,
You have to know where the property is.
get to know where the property is.
And do you want the parcel number to read any different? Rather than it just saying like part of parcel 42?
yeah, can you add the county parcel number to it?
Mhm.
That's a good idea.
Do you want it added or to that'd just be the standard format, is always the county parcel number.
What's this parcel number? Where is that from?
And I
Okay.
have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Let's just-
I don't know why
Let's
we
just
would use
update
the
it to
counties.
the county parcel
Yeah.
address.
Always use the counties.
Good catch. Good catch. And then let's see with let's go, we'll skip over that next one and go, then there's three more with it. Let's go permit 9801, Gary Hader, and Laundry Morphle Complex. So, again,
What's the
go
process?
site address. Like 120 Parent Street, if I remember correctly.
It says 111 right now.
11 right now.
Oh.
Yeah, so that one's correct.
Yeah, so we'll add it. Separate,
Is- The laundry under a new owner?
Oh,
I was just
sure,
gonna ask
since
that.
98.
yeah,
So I was just gonna ask the question, so what's the process if somebody buys the business, do they have to come in and apply for the permit?
They do, but most people don't.
yeah, they just, they're, because they go under whatever business that they purchase, they assume their conditional use permit, but we should update.
Oh, yeah, and in most cases, I don't see any reason not to just simply change the name. As long as there's been no issues with the property.
And yeah, several owners since,
Oh, I'm sure it's not even talked about it at a sale. But, you know, but
Other year for people that he remodeled everything inside, cleaned it,
Yeah,
was seriously cleaned it out,
yeah,
and everybody's pretty impressed with
That's
it.
nice.
hasn't started on fire for a while. Good.
Events are being cleaned on a regular basis.
What about this phosphorus discharge permit? Or do the new owners know they need that?
Can't have a phosphorus discharge permit.
we can't even get one. Could you back then?
Probably.
No,
So
That's
we're
all
taking
regulated
that
by
off
the
straight then.
it's all regulated by the state, isn't it?
Yeah, can't have any detergent with phosphorus.
And this all has to do with phosphorus, so owner must obtain all state permits or something in one line.
Yeah, they're not gonna get, I don't think they're gonna get cute. Get detergent on the black market with phosphorus.
Do they even sell detergent anymore with
Not
phosphate?
legally. Don't think it up.
I don't think
Deja.
so.
Tasia, will you, look up the new business owner name,
Mhm.
update that, and then the business name, update that, and then the, change the parcel number to the county tax ID number?
Then are we striking,
1 and 2 for sure. And 3.
so then they don't have anything.
Well, that's why I suggested number one, saying owner must obtain all state permits.
Simple.
You're gonna have something.
Or do we even need a conditional use permit then for them anymore? I mean, is this, I mean, because before they can even have their business, they already had to go through all the state permitting. So do we even need a conditional use, or can we strike this one?
No, you think the state permits have been updated since 1998?
Yeah, but before, I mean, I would think that each new buyer of the laundromat would have to go through that sort of hoop when they're purchasing it, wouldn't they?
I don't think they do,
No.
I think that they buy the business and it's a business sale and
Carries over, most people never see it.
Okay, then yeah, then we need this, and that, like Dan said, it doesn't have to say anything more than
Follow all state laws, something like, you know,
be good people.
right,
I think also these conditional use permits come into place when they're zoned a certain way, and in our ordinance, it lists, this is what's allowed. And then these types of businesses are allowed with a conditional use permit, so that might be why this one
Okay,
has to have one. And not because of necessarily the conditions, but just that they're listed under that.
so then since we have to have one based on where the business is located, we should at least have, like Dan said, something.
follow all state and
Follow
federal
all
laws.
Yeah.
Owner obtains all state permits.
We could,
I don't know if there is state permits for a laundromat?
It just depends on the zoning and if it's a permitted use or if it's a use that needs a conditional use.
So it's here, C2 highway, which is where this one is zoned. The permitted uses are listed here, and then conditional uses are here, and that's where you see laundry establishments.
I think we like follow all state and.
Why not
federal
just village, county, state, and federal laundry permits or laundry rules? Then we got it covered.
Well, I don't think there are any federal.
But then there's nothing for them to worry about.
laws, But
But at least then we're
state-
covered.
State and federal laws, and it's a big wide blanket of.
Yeah.
Don't,
Do you wanna keep like, white separate from colors?
I think that's important, yes, you don't want people
Do
walking
not-
around with,
Do not
Do
mix
not-
your colors.
do not bleach clothes that are colored.
that's very important.
Tie-dye is not allowed.
Throw
Colored
spouse's
is
wool
a
sweater.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Do we wanna find out what their hours of operation is and then add that to the conditional use
I
permit?
get a laundry basket.
Because I'm assuming it's not 24 hours a day. I'm assuming they lock it at some point.
Would-
Like it
would-
says,
Would we care if it is 24 hours a day? If it's like a snap fitness kind of thing,
well, I
people
just,
just go in
I
there.
just drove by it the other day and said like 7 AM to 10 PM.
Mhm.
So that could certainly be under conditional use permit.
Mhm.
But do we care if they're open later? And my response would be, if people wanna, if they work days and wanna wash their clothes at night and it's open,
And that might change with new owners too, in the future,
But then they need to come in and get a new conditional use permit.
in theory.
So, yeah, in theory, yeah.
Right.
And ask for different hours or something.
I would say if it was a business that we knew was gonna be loud, or would get noise complaints or something, then we put it in, but if it's not gonna interfere with anybody else, then we care.
Do they have cameras up in there? Cause if it's open later on in, the night, that's when trouble happens.
But that'd be up to the business owner to take care of that, and
Yeah, but the neighboring businesses would probably like some effort of us to at least try to reduce the likelihood of problems in there. So if
I don't wanna add things to it and make it more restrictive than if it hasn't been a problem.
But hours of operation are on a lot of our conditional use permits.
But they've operated, that's what he's saying, is they've operated since 98 without that and without issue.
And it's getting to be more of a, where you can, maybe the door locks and people can get a key card, maybe, we don't know what they're gonna do in the future. They could have an app on their phone and they could.
Like Snap
identify-
Fitness kind of thing.
Right. I say we don't add it, but just follow state and federal laws.
Well, we can add it to any, we could add it to any new permit easily, but yeah,
Okay,
okay. Then was that the one light?
One question though, for district attorney to any business, when a business does sell and a new owner's coming in, should we somehow have a notice of that? So we know,
so that each and every one of these CUPs has a line that says, upon sale from this ownership to the next, alert the village.
That would make sense.
That is a good idea.
Upon sale of the business or correct.
Transfer
Upon
of,
sale of the business
responsibility.
or major changes in the business, something like that.
That's a great idea.
that is a great idea.
And
You could run that through utilities, because that's when we'll get a change of ownership.
I think that's a great idea. And then, also Deja, when it gets approved by the full board, that we have a revision date on here.
Yep.
At the bottom, the date it was revised. So is everybody fine with follow state and federal laws?
Yes.
yeah,
So were you saying you don't think that we need any separate line on there because we would already know the change of owner through utilities, or we should still put it on?
I think we
Still
should
add it.
just do an in-house policy that if something comes through on a meter change, that it's anything but residential, that we check.
Check.
What about this kind of situation, just a boilerplate thing that says what you said about, change of use of business or something, cause somebody could just buy a LLC of a business and totally change the scope of the business, and we wouldn't know that way.
And I think it could be that could be a change we make to every one of these old ones.
Yeah.
That's not gonna affect how they're doing business, it's just
Right.
simply stating, if you sell.
And maybe they have to, if it sells, maybe they have to come and reaffirm that they're,
So any change,
reason.
any change of ownership or scope of business requires notification to the village staff or village. Is that worded right?
I think so, any kind,
Any change of ownership or scope of business require
that the village,
Notification.
The
alert.
Notification.
notification. to the
Doesn't that
Village
like
staff.
go on all?
all-
I think it needs to go on all.
all- I agree.
Yeah, because whoever buys it could take the laundromat out and put something else in there.
Right, so. And it changes the scope, and then even if they bought that LLC or whatever, if they change the scope or ownership, that way it's covered.
Yep, I like that.
Got all that, Adrian?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So then we have to go back to,
Well, she'll do it, just do it for all
I
of
made a
them.
note that it'll
it's
be a
just gonna go on
break-in.
all.
Mhm.
Permit 9802, Brad Paulson and Mary Goldsmith.
Is that chiropractor place still there?
I don't think it is.
I was like, I don't think this is a business anymore. Yeah, it's 800 block now. So we could delete this one?
Yeah, that's what I wrote down too, is I don't think it's still there.
So then we have to see, does the H&R Block
Have a
have
conditional
it? Do they
permit?
need one and do they have one?
Yeah.
Those are the questions.
Well, so they're also then under C2. And they're permitted, so I would consider them kind of
That's out
Yeah.
there.
professional
Financial
office.
institution, yeah.
And I think then it could also be kind of validated by 11,
Well, number 5 up there,
service use similar to those listed above.
personal service office is number
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. So then we'll reach out to them and send a letter saying, please, or can you send it like a digital copy for them to fill out for their?
They won't even need one.
It's a permitted.
It's a
Oh, it's a
permitted
permitted
use. So this one could just
Yeah, it's
be,
a permitted use, yeah.
Perfect.
so this one can be deleted.
Nope, that's gonna give me your rid of it.
Permit 9803 Subway Sandwich Restaurant.
I also don't know why this one is in there because it's a restaurant.
Because it was zoned highway commercial maybe?
But it's a permitted use, correct?
Right.
So we can delete that, we can get rid of that one also.
Yeah. ICUP permit 9601, flow right, permit 9804, 05, and 9901.
Ninety oh four, that just goes away, cause that's for unit motels. All under all new ownership.
That piece of property.
This,
Well,
it never happened.
Right,
Yeah, it never happened.
And now it can't happen because he doesn't own it anymore.
He doesn't own it anymore.
Right.
So we can
We
just
still
strike
own the
this,
property, we could technically get rid of the permit.
right,
Okay, so
Which one was that?
9804 is null and void.
Next.
9805 probably.
Well, where is it? Once again, where's, we don't know where
We
the,
don't even know where the building
technically,
is.
we don't know where the building is.
Yeah, I'm guessing
This
it's,
probably was part of the tubing
It's at the
business.
post office.
but it was, But it was 1998, so that the tube shed was there way before 98.
Yeah,
I was guessing this one was when you drive into Somerset Quick Service. The very first building on the right.
Oh.
That's what my guess is.
oh,
So do we have a conditional use permit for a Spartan quick service?
That's kind of what was it. That was part of the conversation for 4B. That was part of that whole conversation of that Spartan Auto didn't have a conditional use permit. So was that was part of that discussion with that, and then the additional cold storage buildings about the zoning and if a CUP was needed. So
yeah,
there's not one right now.
depends on who's ever using the cold storage building, if it is the one in front of Spartan Quick Service, does that person need to have a conditional use permit for that building?
For the building in front of.
The building in front, yeah, which I think was built as a woodshed, wasn't it? 35 years ago,
Or to put a big sign on the
or
side,
the big sign inside.
cause that's what used to be there, is a
There is
huge-
that. But do you even need a conditional use permit for that building?
It probably depends on the current use of it, and it's probably cold storage, but
If it's storage that John's using, I don't think he needs a permit. If the repair shop is using it,
The last time, because I've been in there a couple times, and the last time I was in there, it held wedding venue stuff. At one point, it had some Christmas village stuff,
it's so
If
under.
but it's all cold storage, like
Is
it's
it a-
but
tables
is
and
it,
chairs.
we don't require a conditional use permit for storage, cold storage
On any property,
on any property.
right? And that's what I remember being in there was tables and chairs.
So I don't think we even need a conditional use permit for the building. Now, if somebody's gonna run a business out of there, that's different.
Right.
But if it's just storage for somebody else's business,
It's just a building and he's just storing some stuff in it.
Yeah,
So,
Keep scrolling down a
I
little
don't
more,
see-
storage facilities, but that's.
he's not, I don't think he's I don't think they're being rented out.
it's his own
well,
stuff.
the wording, I mean, number 3 there kind of implies that the reason the CUP had to come up outside of concerts, the building is used, so,
Well, number 2 is,
This was
it calls
prob-
out concerts.
yeah, and so this was probably originated because of, hey, during concert time, we wanna watch what's going on here.
Or used as a ticket booth or something.
Right. But there's no I mean, he's totally out of that business too, so I think like we've said before, it's a cold storage for tables and chairs,
Yeah,
Like I said, if somebody's gonna run a business out of there, they need a conditional use permit.
so
but now it's just a shed
now,
for stuff. Strike it.
So that's the conservancy zoning,
Oh, yeah,
that's the issue.
Hey, give up.
That's a conservancy zoning that's located in right now. So that's the issue.
because
It's gotta be, so back in the day when he had a campground, that was fine, because that shed could have been argued that, well, I put lawnmowers in there or whatnot. Now that use has changed, that's why the zoning should probably be amended to reflect the use, so he's got an auto repair. Yeah,
Well, I brought that up a year ago, but
so
that's what we're trying to do, just kind of clean things up and fix it, so.
yeah, no, I'm saying that everybody with the linked businesses has the same conditional use permit and
so do we have a thought for
Zoning.
direction? Cause I remember that came up too, and we just kinda had no clue what direction to go. Do we have a thought with a direction?
So we're talking two different buildings, we're talking Spartan Auto now and this cold storage building, correct?
Let's,
So,
let's do the.
Dealing with this one here, if it's cold storage, so Bob, you're saying that building was in conservancy, right?
it is.
The piece of property
This
is,
piece of property,
that the building sits on.
Correct.
okay, so just a cold storage building? Is it still meeting?
in
Well,
conservancy.
In conservancy, if I remember right, it was more of a thing of setbacks and things like that, and because this has already been built, that'd be grandfathered in. So is there any reason to keep a conditional use permit for that building today? And I don't.
I think
there is.
number 1 is appropriate.
Oh.
No flammable liquids.
Over 5 gallons.
So if an individual wanted to all of a sudden have their house, which would be zoned R1, convert that into some type of a business, they'd have to get the proper zoning
Then it's a whole different subject
to
too.
that, so.
Right.
The zoning needs to,
reflect what the current uses are.
right, so back when he was tubing, you could attach that to the campground, which was fine.
And then you got to pay less property tax.
Bus
which
garage
was-
was running tubers, so that was attached to the campground, it was all attached to the business, so back in the day, it was appropriate. Now, I maybe argue that that zoning needs to be updated.
I think we all agree the zoning. should
The
be-
zoning needs to be changed on the repair shop.
How do we do this the softest way possible of just either talking to them or writing them a letter saying, hey, we need a new conditional use permits.
It's been
for-"
brought up, it's been brought to him before, it's nothing new, I've talked to him about
But I thought that he was okay with
it. They were,
rezoning
but they were trying to get the building thing sorted out with Bob in the village
the whole
before you did any.
borderline stuff, about where boundaries are for this, that, and the other
Yeah.
thing.
What's your recommendation, Bob? How do you think we should handle this?
I would get the zoning. So it matched the use, there's not a whole lot you can do about the setbacks, unless you get a neighbor that starts complaining. Which would be the multifamily.
But even if you change the zoning, it's not like we're gonna tear buildings down.
No,
They're
right.
already grandfathered in.
He just, we'd ask him to come in and change from conservancy zone to commercial zone or whatever.
Mhm.
And then
C2, commercial.
fill out the conditional use permits, and that would be a separate one for the
Repair
auto
shop.
repair shop.
No, the auto repair shop needs to be the new owner's name. Not
I
John.
think, isn't
he's
John
leasing it.
still the owner?
He's
It's
leasing-
just,
He's the owner of
They're
the
leasing it
property,
out.
but the business owner needs to have the
that's right.
permit. So it's different, yeah, which is,
Cause this is where we got stuck the last time, because then we started talking about property lines of where the one starts and the other stops.
but it has to be, it really has to be divided. This is C2, this is highway commercial, and the rest of this is still conservancy, like Bob says, and then figure out from there what you need for conditional use permit. And whether these buildings are do need a permit or not.
So I think a formal letter just saying this is, look to rezone that conservancy area to commercial. Need a conditional use permit from the current owner of, it's still Spartan Quick Service, right?
It's Spartan Quick Service, yeah.
And then since Float Ride doesn't exist anymore, just he'll have to update the conditional use permits for his wedding venue. And shouldn't be any problem.
Cause it's not shutting down anything or stopping
Or
anything
just
or
updating it.
the paperwork
It's just getting the paperwork
In-
correct.
in line with what is
That's
there.
what the current use is. So is it Bob or Tasia that'll send out a letter?
I think we should.
Funny.
Sorry, I'm just here for community glass.
I mean, I would probably work in conjunction with Bob, just so that we have all of the correct language in there.
Yeah, and there's we're not gonna ask for like a fee or anything associated with it, we're just updating.
I think that would need to go through the board, because there is a fee for properties to be rezoned. So I think if we wanted to be waiving any fees, that would need to go through the board.
So what is the fee to change from conservancy to
I think the fee is 300, either it's 253 or 350, somewhere around there, I don't remember exactly.
It's nominal, but I don't know what you guys think, I would be fine.
I
Would
would
you
just,
guys all be fine? if
I
it
would
was
just rather
free?
get this all straightened out.
Right. It's
So in
not
this
about-
case, we'd waive all
We
fees
waive,
and just let's get
be the
the,
recommendation of this committee to waive the,
But then the board have
The board
to
has
find
to
out,
approve
have to make, we can make a recommendation.
right, we make a recommendation, but the
No,
board
no.
has to approve it.
and I don't think anybody on the board is gonna say, no, we want the $300. We just wanna get things straightened out. So,
Does that need a motion?
well, was there anything else that that we need to talk about for conditional use permits for them, cause it's, as far as I know, would be the Spartan Quick Service, and then, would each building down there, would General Sam's need its own conditional use permit? Would their new wedding venue need a conditional use permit, or just the whole property as a wedding venue?
I
So
mean,
the
this-
wedding venues are commercial. Those
Yeah.
are,
Oh, they already are.
those are.
Yeah, but do they need conditional use permits, I would think.
If it's, are they C2 down there?
Yeah, highway commercial,
I would think that
permitted uses,
restaurants covered right there.
restaurants are permitted.
Oh, permitted use.
Nightclub
Bars.
bar.
Bars are permitted use.
Conditional uses,
And then your only thing is if they have the cabins and you got that under conditional use.
yeah. so
Are
that
people
would-
staying in the cabin overnight, or are they just renting them to have their like s'more party, I think?
They have a s'more party, yeah, nobody's,
I don't think anyone sleeps in them.
no, they're out of there at,
For weddings,
Even
though, I
the
mean,
weddings.
Yeah,
are
maybe
all
for weddings they
overnight.
do. Oh, yeah.
And we could confirm that.
I don't see anything specific that has wedding venues, but that's probably because that didn't exist
It
here.
didn't exist.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
you
we're in the
could,
church, right, Dave? Yeah, we're in the church.
So if you look under permitted uses, so theaters and related uses.
I mean, you could,
add
We could
wedding
have.
venues to that line. Can we do that?
We could look to make a recommendation to have restaurants or wedding venues as a permitted use.
do you need to spell it out though, if it says related uses?
The,
Yeah,
well,
because
is a wedding,
is there a big process to change our ordinances?
we're in the process of changing everything, so it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to make everything right.
We can, so I think that we could call it related use.
I'm fine with that too.
So under 11, it does say other stores or services use similar in character
To
to
those
those.
listed above.
Yeah. So we don't even need conditional use permits, or let's go
I
through
know, see it
conditional
up
use.
there, I'm like, what do you memorize this stuff?
No,
uh,
I barely remember my
living
address.
quarters. Does anybody still live like in the A-frame or anything up there?
Sure, it's an
It's like
office.
the bridal suite or something.
No, it's,
No beds, no nothing, it's all.
it's now just part of the wedding, or not the wedding, the,
Oh.
Christmas. It's another s'mores cabin for the Christmas village and
That is-
office space.
That's probably used for weddings potentially if they need brides or.
The A-frame?
Well, they have a beautiful bridesmaid
Oh, it's down at the.
place already down there.
Yes.
So then the only thing that needs a conditional use permit would be the Spartan Quick Service.
That's if we change the ordinance, you mean?
No, because that, we just say that it'd be under related uses, so.
Okay.
So we asked him to come in and ask the board to waive fees, and he just get everything changed from conservancy to C2. And
Well, it's
Spartan
just-
Quick
And that's
Service,
just one small.
It's just that
portion
one
of it.
small part of it.
Yeah.
Basically what the repair shop uses, the
right,
property the repair shop.
so basically,
Two things.
there will be no more conservancy property there, because there's no more
That-
camping,
That very southern end will be
C2 now,
C2.
everything,
And it should have been
yes.
C2 already. That makes it easy. Who does own Spartan Quick Service?
Ryan Winty.
Yeah.
He owns the name
Yeah.
and the business, John owns the property,
Property, yeah, but he owns the business.
yeah.
So a letter to John about the change in use for whatever, and that we're gonna recommend to the board that the fee of the $300 be waived. And then would come back to the planning commission, correct?
Yep, so I have this all on here, it's discussion, so because this is our first go around with it, it might be beneficial for these changes to come back with clean documents of all the changes for you guys to actually act on the recommendation of making the changes, and then also any subsequent action of the board.
Add it
Waiving
and
fees.
subtract
Yeah.
what you come up with.
Yeah,
In case
I think
we
we
do that.
we should still send a letter for those things, so we can just get that done with by the next
It's like a first reading, second.
meeting, and I think John even said it. Wanted to have its own commercial anyways,
I would think so.
It should be.
Certainly not fight it.
And then, the conditional use permit for the for our quick service and everything else, we're good to go with, right? I doesn't, the wedding venue doesn't need it.
So are we done with 9805?
I think we're done with anything that had to do with the float, the 4 float rights, correct?
Are we? Oh,
Well, there is 9901
but that's,
to sell alcoholic beverage off sale of the tube
Tube
stand,
stand.
which doesn't exist in, there's no tube
Right.
stand. So that one can just be struck.
I think everything,
Yeah, right, I agree.
if we're saying the wedding venue doesn't need a conditional use permit, which I agree with, can be under related uses. They don't, then we're good, then the float right ones just go
We
away.
haven't looked at 9601 yet, we skipped that. That's the concert, the old concert.
Well, that's just gonna,
Did the new concert owner get a conditional use permit?
they do an ICUP,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And this was at the time when John actually owned the concert site. So this one is
What's the I stand for?
interim conditional use.
That means it's
permit.
only good for 1 year.
It's reviewable.
It's
it's
reviewable.
reviewable, yeah. So can we do the same thing and then eliminate this one, the ICUP 9601?
Yes,
I don't see any reason why not.
It's true.
Yeah. Same with
and float rate doesn't exist anymore, correct?
well, so about that.
Yeah, everybody does.
Well, not the new people.
Oh, there you go.
We still have to say what goes on down there for the township. Even though Live Nation's doing it.
The interim conditional use permit gets reviewed each year, but the way it's worded, if everything, any changes has to be mutually agreed on in the village and the concert site.
So my question is all these food trucks that go in there, do they need permits?
Different
Are they
topic, but it's, I think it just goes under their license.
Are you talking about for the Christmas light show or for weddings too? Because some wedding people might have it.
Maybe
for the
this is-
con- for the
maybe this-
concert.
Maybe this is not the
Concert?
meeting,
Oh.
but I think at some point here, I mean, people are coming in and they're making money and we're not getting any of that revenue.
Yeah,
Well, you technically are getting sales tax.
Well, we
from
get the
it.
sales, but do they have to have a permit?
They have to be licensed
Question
through
we've
the
asked,
county.
they should have drip cellar permits,
Yes.
regardless of where they're at.
Anybody in the village should have.
If they're not a brick and mortar, they're transit.
Right.
So that would be the same thing with the coffee wheel on wheels, wherever it is, that they get a permit? Wherever they're at.
They moved into
They're in the
a
building now.
building now.
They're in the
And so
building now.
they'd be no different than like us at Kennedy's Cafe that has to pay the restaurant license to the county and get health inspections and all
and they
that.
would not need a conditional use permit for the rest. That's it.
I'm just trying to understand it all,
So, just out of curiosity, so what is the usage of the old treadmill?
So that's
Store,
another thing that could
retail.
probably come up to a conditional use permit now that it's a change in scope of the use.
Yeah, unless if those businesses fall within the permitted uses, then it's,
So has anything
Irrelevant.
from the is the treadmills, that building still under the CUP from the treadmill days?
No,
Has anybody come to the
I don't
village?
think they ever had.
Cause that was sporting goods retail.
right.
But if we go back
I
up,
think it was permitted use.
if we go back
Yeah,
up
yeah,
to
yeah.
permitted use as restaurants,
So they never
Other
needed a
thing, they wouldn't need
CUP,
it.
because it said retail stores in there too.
they would just need their
A clothing store.
county permit and
It's the Somerset vape.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a clothing
So
store.
now, yeah,
Craft,
so now they're selling
just like
food,
clothing.
they're selling food, coffee, which are both consumables,
Is that C1?
and they're selling vape out of there.
That might be C1 and we don't have any,
Central Business District, yeah.
It is C1.
I bet you that's C1, but we don't require
Coffee
conditional
and
use permits for
ice cream.
C1, do we?
Clothing store, two store, yeah, that's.
is there anything with food under there for
Yeah, there's,
So that's why.
They got truck store and
Cafe.
pharmacy.
The treadmill, do you think?
anything with
Clothing
food?
store and shoes. Clothing
I
store.
mean, I
shoe
feel like
store.
cafe would cover that.
Yeah, yeah. I was reading coffee. Sorry,
And restaurants,
I
so.
could use a cup, yeah, so.
But yeah, when you've got theaters, bars and related uses, well, bars is related, I would say, to vaping store.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'd say they're in the zone where they belong and don't need a CUP.
But if it's C1, I don't think we issue conditional use permits for C1.
Good, 'cause
And there are conditional uses listed under C1.
But I don't think we have any businesses that actually have them. I have one.
and they are C1.
C1.
That- that's all.
The liquor store, and that's all C1, and maybe on both sides of Main Street, basically.
Are all C1.
Yeah.
So the vape store, is that a permitted use, or does that need a conditional use permit?
I picture it as a retail store and
Retail.
related to a bar.
Yeah,
And we should just be mindful of getting too far off.
off track.
Well, just talking about a business that isn't aware that we're talking about them, I just don't wanna.
Okay.
Well, it's just for discussion, does, all they probably need from us is does the village still sell a tobacco license?
Yep, and they have one.
Then yeah,
Then we're good.
they're covered in where they are and they're all good to go.
So the coffee shop, they're doing the business the way they're doing it up there. That's all good too.
That's all permitted.
It says
use,
cafe
yeah.
right in
Cafe
there.
and ice cream shop, so that's permitted use. We all good on everything so far?
Yeah, we just got,
Oh, we
got-
got,
two more to do, right?
One, right?
well, Lakeview twice.
Lakeview
Lakeview
Boys.
Memorial
Oh, wait.
Hospital Association.
It's the same permit
It's-
number,
Yeah,
but
So there's an issue with this because C3 is a limited highway commercial, it's professional office, which is a permitted use. That's the zoning for that.
Yeah, I don't, they don't even need it. Conditional use.
Well, and so this was approved by the board in '99, and,
It looks like it's for construction.
Right.
it was, right, it was at that same time in '99 that we changed the whole ordinance book, so.
Well, we created C3 for
After.
Rebar Street, you know, the whole block there. So yeah, these can go away too.
This can go away. And then, so just, well, discussion zoning and conditional use permit follow-up for 710 Spring. I think we covered all of that. Is there anything we missed? It's at 710 Springs, the float right, which is now the wedding venue.
which we have a plan going forward with that sounds really positive.
So that's why I would like to do more of a formal letter, so it actually does get followed through. We're not like, well, we talked about it, but never.
Like we talked about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think we're asking for anything.
No, especially for a couple signatures, really.
And then, so just going forward, before we adjourn, for the next one next ones, we wanna try to lump them as like-kind businesses kind of thing. So should we do the storage ones next to get those out of the way?
How big a hassle is that for you, Tasha? Because that would come.
not any more than this, so.
Okay.
There's what,
The next meeting has.
That's not a real answer.
what's the agenda topic?
We already have an agenda topic for the next meeting. It was for the new development coming in up by
Churchill,
Churchill.
Yeah.
Churchill, that's it.
that'll be it.
So that is one of our agenda topics for next meeting. I don't know how long
Yeah,
it's gonna
well-
take.
Shouldn't be long.
Well,
Even
if
if
it takes too long, we table it till the next one.
No worries, okay.
Yeah, not a big
Cool.
deal.
So we do the
We can have
5
some
storage
more
ones and do another 5, should we do?
Yeah.
try to put
Yeah.
10?
Try to do 10 of them. We get 9 or 10 like.
I like
businesses.
that. All the storage that we have in village and 5 more.
And then, so
And I
basically,
want to just clarify, it'll be any storage that has a CUP and or would be required to have a CUP, because there, I don't know where they're zoned. If there's some that maybe don't require, that-
it says storage facilities needed, so.
I'm just,
That's under.
I just wanna be clear that that will
That's
pull
what you're
any.
looking for, and if
Yeah.
we miss something. We
Mine
did.
are technically under industrial.
So you have to pay your taxes monthly then? Because industrial, you're supposed to do it to the state,
Manufacturing.
manufacturing.
Oh,
Oh, pretend you didn't hear it.
Then do you want these, the ones that changes were made, I'll also bring those back for a final review and final recommendation?
So the paperwork like we're seeing here tonight, only as it should look.
Correct.
Yes, I think that's a very good idea.
So just to recap, so under issue 2, put site locator, site address. And then for parcel number, we'll update all the parcel numbers to the county tax ID number. And then can you read that language back that we said that we'd put on all of them? So if there's a change of,
Ownership or
Scope.
scope of business,
it
the
must-
village must be notified.
within 30 days?
Sure.
Sound good?
Good idea.
Somebody wanna make the final motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
First and a second, further discussion? There none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 6:56 PM. Nice work, everyone.